I'm Leah Beth. Thanks for tuning in to Ashley's Kitchen today. We are going to make chocolate covered strawberries today. Who doesn't like chocolate covered strawberries? Well, most of us do. And if you've ever ordered them from a fabulous company like Shari's Berries, you know how beautiful they are, and you also know how expensive they are. So if you can learn to do this at home, and it's really easy, you will save a lot of money and enjoy making these for yourself or for your husband, or they're great gifts to Mother's Day. Pretty much anybody who likes chocolate and strawberries would enjoy getting these for a gift. So you can do this. We're going to start with prepping our chocolate. I have found my favorite way to melt chocolate is in the oven on a very low temperature. You've probably heard the double broiler thing, in the microwave, all sorts of ways to melt chocolate. Chocolate is very easy to burn, and you really don't want to do that. So for me, I like in the oven on a low temperature about, you could probably go 200. That's what we'll do today and see how that works out. So I've got Ghirardelli white vanilla flavored melting wafers. So we're going to make a white pan, and I'm just going to sprinkle some of this in. You might be surprised how it really doesn't take a lot of chocolate to do strawberries. And over here you can see I've got strawberries prepped already. They're washed and they're patted dry. You can use a napkin or a paper towel or something, and they're laid out. You want your strawberries clean and fairly dry so that the chocolate adheres to them better. And I like to leave on the green, the stem. I just think it's a prettier presentation, and so I like to do that. And it also gives you a little bit more to hold on to when you're dipping them in the chocolate. So let's get our chocolate ready. And I'm going to use this pan, and I'm going to use some almond bark, which is not my favorite chocolate, but it makes your really good chocolate go a little further. And I'm going to be using 60% Ghirardelli, and that is one of my favorite chocolates for making desserts or things that you want to be a little sweeter, but still want that dark chocolate. I like the 60%. So I think this is going to be plenty. I didn't use a whole lot. Can you see what I did? I used 2 of these, of the almond blocks, and I used some of the 60% chocolate, and then I did some of the white wafers. So I'm going to preheat the oven to 200. And I'm going to go ahead and put these in. There's no harm, and they're getting gradually warmed up. I'm putting both of these in at the same time. And I'm going to let that go for a while. What you want to do when you do your chocolate in the oven is every so often, maybe every 5 to 7 minutes or so, check it. Open your oven door and get a spoon. I like to use a wooden spoon, and see if your chocolate's melting, because you know when chocolate melts, sometimes it'll hold its form and you can look in and think it's not doing anything. But you take a spoon and start to swirl it around, and you see that it's melting really nicely. So you want to just check it every few minutes and stir it until it's all melted through. And then you can take it out and begin to dip your strawberries. But you want to have everything prepped so that your chocolate, as it starts to cool down, you're ready to use it right away. So we'll be back when our chocolate is melted and we're ready to dip some strawberries. The white chocolate has melted a lot more quickly than the dark. So you can see the white, I checked it after a few minutes. Don't let it go very long, because probably in 5 minutes or less, you'll be able to at least begin stirring if it's not already done. And this was done very quickly. I don't know if you can see that, but it's really lovely right now. And I was able to cut up the 2 squares of almond bark in the dark chocolate to help it melt a little more quickly. So it's still melting in there. And the Ghirardelli 60% was already melted, but I needed that almond bark to melt a little more. we can go ahead and get started with the white. What I like to do some white, some dark, and then do some where I drizzle the opposite color over it. So let's get started with the white. And you know what the crazy thing is? I love dark chocolate, but with certain things, white chocolate is really good. And strawberries is one of those things for me. The white is amazingly really good. So all you need to do is grab onto your strawberry, get it going in that chocolate, and I like to have a spoon handy so that I can help it get all up over that strawberry. And I have some parchment paper laid out here. You can use wax paper, anything that you can set your strawberry on where it will come off easily once it's hardened. And I'm going to set that down on my parchment paper. And we're going to do some more. These strawberries are beautiful. These I got at Aldi the other day for I think $1.49. This is one box right here. And so this is something you can do fairly quickly if you've got the ingredients on hand. And let's give that a good dip. Sometimes I will go back over and put some more chocolate on it because I like a thick layer of chocolate. When it comes to chocolate, you don't want to play. You want to be serious about it, right? Lots of chocolate, okay? Don't hint at chocolate. Let's have some chocolate, all right? Yes, I think you understand. All right, so we're getting a lot of chocolate on there. And you know, you can also you could chop up some nuts really finely and sprinkle nuts on the strawberries while they are still, while the chocolate's not hardened yet. You could do sprinkles. If you had a themed birthday party or something, you could do, you know, colored sprinkles, whatever makes it just perfect for you. And these strawberries are just really pretty. They're huge, some of them. And I think they're already in from Florida. I think they're the Florida strawberries. So, you know what? We need to check the dark chocolate in there because I don't want it to go too far. All right. So, let's check the dark chocolate and see how it's doing. Again, looking in, it looks like it's not melted through because chocolate sometimes will hold its form. But it's ready. So I'm turning off the oven and I'm going to bring the dark chocolate out and finish stirring that through to help it completely melt and come together. And this is what the chocolate looks like. Can you see that? Lovely. All right. Some people may add things like coconut oil in your chocolate to help it get harder. You can do that. I don't usually. You could add things like a little bit of mint peppermint flavoring to give it a mint chocolate flavor. All right, the thing is, when you've got this going on, you want to keep working because we don't want our chocolate to get too hard, but if it does, just stick it back in the oven a little bit. So we're getting this. Oh my goodness. This looks and smells so delicious. Okay, you really need to try this. The trick is dripping it over the whole thing and not making a mess. So I'm going to get my little plate here so I don't drip onto my white chocolate. Let's go back to the white and finish there so that, because that's getting cool ahead of the dark. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can do 1 or 2 more of the white chocolate. All right, let's do more. Maybe 1 or 2 here. Get it good and chocolatey. And again, I like to leave a little bit of red at the top. It's easier that way, plus it's pretty because you see a little bit of that red strawberry showing through. And shall we do one more white? What do you think? We'll do a small one. Okay. Here we go. And we are almost ready to move over to exclusively doing the dark chocolate, and then we'll go back and do some drizzling. I think that'll be pretty and fun to do. Okay. And now let's go to our dark chocolate. Look at these strawberries. Aren't they fabulous? Now, if you've ever ordered strawberries again from anywhere online, or if you've purchased them at a store, one thing that you learn, or they will tell you, is eat them quickly, because they really, even if you put them in the fridge, they don't last for many days. So you want to eat them quickly, which is not really a problem. And again, I'm going to make sure it doesn't drip all over. And I'll get this strawberry going here. Okay. I'm going to try something today. I don't know that I've ever tried it. We're going to try to make a little bouquet over there. And you see my pretty green vase and my skewer sticks sticking out there. So maybe we can make a little bit of a bouquet of chocolate covered strawberries. We'll see how that goes. Our strawberries are all covered now, but we want to go back and do some drizzling. So while our chocolate is still melty, and it really, if you move fairly quickly, it stays melted for quite a while, because it looks like my white was getting hard, but if you look at that, it's still quite runny. So, since we did our white first, let's start with the chocolate drizzle, because our white strawberries will be the hardest. Oh, you know what I forgot? Let's make them a little thicker. Let's see first if we have any that need a little bit more layering. I like to do that. Get a lot of chocolate on that strawberry. Okay. Now it does cut down on the amount you have to drizzle, but that's okay. All right. And we'll do some more on that big one. And you may or may not want to go back over with this, because it does, you have to be a little careful on making it look smooth and pretty, but that's all right. All right. Now, while we're at it, let's see if we want to add any more to the chocolate. We've got plenty chocolate here. It really doesn't take a lot. So, at the risk of making it not look so fabulous, I'm going to add a little more chocolate. And you don't have to do this, but makes it a little bit thicker. And it's already nicely hardening. I've gone back over most of the strawberries with a little extra chocolate just to make sure they're good and covered. They don't look quite as pretty as they do when you just dip them and pull them out. So you may not want to do the extra. And let's go ahead now and do the drizzle. And I think that's the fun part. And it looks pretty. Get your spoon and just drizzle back and forth in that pretty drizzle motion. And you can do some of them drizzled, all of them. You can do some lightly drizzled, and it just adds a pretty touch. And this is the part where it doesn't matter if you get on the paper, because you're going to peel them right off that paper. And so you just drizzle across. And well, it looks like we did all of our strawberries in the drizzle. I guess it's too fun to stop. So let's do the dark chocolate and add a little bit of the white drizzle. Isn't that pretty? And again, you could do nuts, or you could dip them in, you could sprinkle some of the really tiny chocolate chips. Wouldn't that be pretty on there? And I guess we'll go ahead and drizzle all of them. It's just hard to stop, because it's kind of fun actually. So we'll drizzle all of them, at least a little bit. Okay, and that's it. We'll let these dry a little bit and then come back and put them on some skewers if we can get them to stay, and make a nice little bouquet of chocolate covered strawberries. But that's the process, and that was pretty easy and quick. So we'll be right back. While we're waiting for our chocolate covered strawberries to dry, what are you going to do with that wonderful leftover chocolate? We cannot waste that. Well, I've got an idea. You can prep another pan quickly. This is just a glass baking dish, and I have some parchment paper, and I'm going to make some bark, some sort of healthy bark actually. Chocolate bark is very difficult to get out of a pan if you don't have wax paper, parchment paper, something like that. So I'm just pouring this into my wax paper, and I have some pretzels, I have some pecans. You can add anything into it, almonds of course. Do crushed up candy cane left over from Christmas if you still have any. But, and actually I'm gonna add this white chocolate right on top of that, because you know what, it's going to taste good. It doesn't have to look great at this point. We just don't want to waste that chocolate. So this is what it looks like. I've just got a little pat of chocolate down there, and I'm going to add a few pretzels, maybe on one side, crunched up, and then some pecans on the other side, and kind of stir that in, and then you've got a bark once it hardens, and you can break it up into pieces and put it in a Ziploc bag. So we're going to do part of it in pretzels. I love the sweet and salty. A lot of people do. And then we're going to do some pecans on the other side. And this is just what I had on hand. Almonds would be great. Walnuts, peanuts. Oh my, those are so good. And so now, give this a little bit of a stir. Get those nuts and pretzels mixed down in there. And I just kind of on one side did the pretzels, and on the other side did the pecans. Kind of want to get your stir-ins covered, at least mostly covered. And then just let that bark harden. And you've got some good leftover bark where we didn't lose the rest of our chocolate. So let's check our strawberries and see if they're getting hard enough. I think some might be hard enough for us to try in our vase. I'm going to use some of the smaller ones for this experiment. They're going to be lighter, and so they're not going to be as top heavy. Look at that. Oh, and I messed up that little bit of drizzle, didn't I? So you want to be careful, maybe wait a little longer to do the flowers. I'll try to be careful on this one. We'll stick that there, that was better. Okay, so we're making our little bouquet, and you can actually press it on there while it's still on the paper, and it's a little easier that way. Let's do chocolate. These are some nice strawberries. Look at that. And one more. They are so huge, it's hard to find a small one to do this with. So we'll try this one and hope for the best, that it doesn't fall off. Look at that. Who wouldn't love to bite into that? All right, so here is our bouquet of chocolate covered strawberries. And thanks for joining us on Ashley's Kitchen. And I hope you have fun with this project yourself.